On this video, I'm checking out what is kind of known as a unicorn in the van world. And here to tell me why that is my buddy Chris Duber from Ujoint Offroad. Chris, what do we have here and what makes this so unique?
Well, this is a customer rig, which is different from a lot of the videos we've done. This is a 2000 E-350 7.3 diesel Chateau. So the Chateau means it has 4 captain's chairs and a bench in the back instead of your regular traditional van that has just rows of benches. There's a few other little details. Some of them are available with leather. They have an overhead console with a compass and a clock. Nothing crazy by today's standards, but back in the day, this is a very special van because somebody went to the Ford dealer and specifically ordered this van. This isn't one that Ford would just crank out and put on a lot. Somebody wanted this van spec'd this way, which is cool. And we've given it another lease on life.
If you're not familiar with what Ujoint Offroad does, they specialize in 4th generation Ford E-Series vans. They make bumpers, they make 4-wheel drive conversions, and obviously make them a lot more capable. So talk me through this rig. Let's talk about, so it does have the diesel. This is a 7.3 if it's a 2000, right?
Yes, yep, 7.3 diesel. That's backed by a 4R100 transmission. So this customer is setting this up for hunting trips. So it will be towing a trailer for hunting gear, and it's going to mainly be used in Texas for hunting. So we set it up accordingly. We sent the transmission out for a full rebuild, 4-wheel drive conversion to the transmission, and all of the heavy-duty upgrades that come with that, so we can prolong the life. Believe it or not, this van has 140,000 miles on it.
Okay, which isn't crazy in diesel standards.
No, but the body and the interior is in excellent condition. Whoever had this van to begin with took really good care of it. So we're always thankful to see that because a lot of them just get beat up. Right. So yeah, we did our 6-inch 4-wheel drive conversion. It has our new Stage 2 all new axle housing, which I think is the first you've seen of these. It's a Stage 2 Dana 60, so it has 410 gears, Detroit True Track, and we did a brake upgrade. So it has 8-piston SSBC calipers with their heat-treated rotors on the front. In the rear, we just did a refresh, rebuild, new brakes, new bearings, re-gear. We geared this one to 410. And besides that, just a NV271 transfer case, custom drive shafts, and yeah, that's it as far as drivetrain goes.
Now it's clearing a 35. So talk to me a little bit about the tire and wheel package on this, and why do you go with the particular tire and wheel package that you do?
Yeah, so this is an American Racing Baja wheel in black. It's just a good basic black round hole wheel. A lot of people don't want blingy wheels. Right. And this is one of the few that aren't blinged out these days. With tires, we went with the Nitto Recon Grappler in a 35 1250 17. Best all-around tire, in my opinion. It's going to be good for highway use. The most variety of off-road conditions. If you're getting into some sand, some snow, some mud, it's going to do all of it well. And that's why I always recommend that tire.
Now, with this particular build on 35, it's kind of hard to tell in the video. These things, they sit up high, but I know we talked about this a lot in the past. Just because it looks tall doesn't necessarily mean it's a top heavy vehicle. Sure. That's, I think, something, I know you talk about educating your customers on used leaf springs. It helps a lot with dialing in the weight correctly, but talk a little bit about the stability of this rig and really how the chassis is different on this versus like a pickup truck.
Yeah, so the van frames are wider than a truck, and I believe that is so they could sit the powertrain lower in the frame. So with a truck, you have a narrower frame because, trucks are also made to be dualies, even though you can get an E-Series dually. The van frames are wider, drivetrain sits lower in it. So center of gravity is actually lower than what most people think. Right. Our suspension setup, we use custom springs front and rear for every single build. So we don't have off-the-shelf springs that are overbuilt to ensure that they never sag or fail. Every van gets custom leaf springs. So we know what the weights are for your common vans. For this van, it's fairly stock as far as the body is concerned. We did add a little bit of capacity for towing, and it also has our overload airbag system. That way they have a good ride when they're unloaded, but when they load it with a trailer and load it with gear, they're not gonna sag and have negative effect. So our vans do handle extremely well because of the crossover steering, because of the sway bar we use, and because of the custom spec springs.
So what other add-ons did this van get? Obviously, it's got steps, which have been really handy for me today, getting in and out of this thing.
So we went fully loaded with this rig. It's got our FB003 all aluminum front bumper. It's got loaded up with rigid lights, Warren winch, Factor 55 thimble, and our Agency 6 Ujoint Offroad fair lead. And Then yeah, side steps. These are our all aluminum side steps. They're not sliders. They bolt to the body, not the frame. These are just a good functional step for those that are vertically challenged. Out back, we've got our full steel and aluminum hybrid rear bumper that we build in-house. On the side, you can see the Aluminess ladder, which accesses our all aluminum roof rack. Then they went with a center strip flooring. So a lot of times, the flooring really helps with the vans. You know, I have full flooring on my van, and I notice a huge difference on just how efficient the air conditioning is in the summer by having that insulated barrier with the air in between the rack and the roof of the van. They went with a center strip. Usually people do a center strip is because they're loading boats. So they can get on the roof and they can have a path, you know, front to back on the rack, and they can put a boat on each side.
Right. You're saying boat like kayak, canoe,
yeah,
that
kayaks,
sort of thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, canoes,
Right.
stuff like that. And then underneath, we've got our onboard air system. So it's got a ARB twin cylinder compressor with a 2.5 gallon tank, and it's ported to front and rear bumpers. Out back on the rear bumper, we've also got our airbag shraders to control the airbags for when they're needed, and an S-Pod electrical system that runs all the lights in the bumper and the onboard air, and also has a reverse override, so you can turn on the reverse lights whenever you want.
Is there anything in terms of if you've got a customer that's thinking about sending you a van that wants to do something like this, are there just some like smart go-tos, or if you're going to look at buying one of these vans, sure, when do you walk away? When do you say, that's too much rust, or is that really still the biggest challenge? Because obviously they stopped making these things in 2014 for a full-bodied. So what's your best recommendation if someone's looking to, you know, get one of these and make it a usable, you know, off-roader?
Sure. Well, rust is always the enemy. Rust is always the number 1 enemy, and I've learned over the years to not necessarily trust most people, especially in the rust belt, when it comes to they say, oh, it doesn't have bad rust. Always get pictures. It's not common for people to sell vans or anything really where they show undercarriage pics. So I always, if someone sends me a van and says, hey, what do you think of this van? I'll look for my clues. But then I'll also say, hey, let's get some undercarriage pics. Let's give it a real good inspection underneath to make sure it's not rusty. Because in my opinion, you know, if you've got rust in one area, like say the body's got rust, that's not the only place it has rust. Right. It's going to have rust everywhere else, and it's going to fight you, and it's going to cause you problems down the road. Other than that, yeah, just finding the van that meets your needs with your budget.
If someone was going to try to get something like this built and they already had a van, what are they looking at roughly to do something like this?
So this van fully loaded up with all the goodies it has is in the $45,000 to $50,000 range, okay, for modifications.
Right. And now a lot of this stuff you do just ship out, so it's not just a built in-house thing. I know you guys have a shop here in Fletcher, North Carolina, and there's one in Colorado, but all of these parts, even your solid axle conversion, you guys sell as kits.
Yes. Yeah, our DIY kits, we were the first to ever make a DIY kit for the 4th gen E-Series. Okay. And we continue to do that. We continue to develop all of our product based around the DIY guys. We haven't given up on them or said, no, we're just going to do in-house builds. We're still DIY based, and we ship a lot of kits. We ship about 100 kits a year. Everything that we sell is available on our website for a DIY build. Okay. There are a few things we can't do just because they're more customized, that we would need the van in-house, but right, pretty much everything you see on this rig is available to DIY.
So where can people find more about the vans and what you guys are doing?
So our website, ujointoffroad.com. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And yeah, our website's got a lot of good info. We're constantly updating the website. And yeah, new shop in Colorado is doing great. And yeah, looking forward to building more vans. Keep sending them.
Awesome.
And RVs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there are some really crazy four-wheel drive RVs. Well, this has been awesome. I always like checking out these vans. It's so unique. You know, I think it's good to always preface, these aren't built as rock crawlers. These are more overlanders, but you do have an extreme van that can do stuff. And there's another van built in the works that's sort of going to be proving out that these things are durable. Most people just don't want to use them for rock crawling necessarily. So.
Yeah, they just don't fit on most trails, right? You know, unless you don't care.
It's a lot of body.
Yeah, it's a lot of body, and you know, it's an investment. So, right, you know, but I do have plenty of customers who really push them to the limits and beat on them, and we always like to see that. But they're very capable.
Well, if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the comments. You now know how to get in touch with Chris. Appreciate you guys watching as always, and hope to see you on the trail. Thanks. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to the Driving Line channel. Our goal is to excite, entertain, and educate you on all things automotive. So if you want to come be part of our journey, please hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you on the next video. Take care.